Yeah. We only do like tax returns for condo associations, but we have like 40 of them, and I'm just like, good morning.
Are you gonna ask me something?
Oh, I think I was going to ask you if this is printed out. I just ended up putting myself out.
I did not bring it in.
No worries. The only reason I wanted to take them
Good stuff.
We figured. Thank you.
No, there's not. And this is I know if it's a they don't want to talk.
I know.
Directors out there, in the last 2 years, we said that very fun. It's like, it's fine.
I'd say something, but we're live. Let me text you something.
You can look at the bottom on that, basically see the routes that you want. You can see where I can go from his house, around to make this like this. And it's like a
Presentation. Oops.
Yeah, it's just talking about it. Just encouraging him to, get involved, go forth and go. No, I'll say no. No, yeah, the last, couple of years, whether it was like go get it or that first, even if it was like, anything that looked like it was a code type violation, it was like, off the streets over there, Josh did,
I'll try to request space to develop.
No, I was just going to ask Jen. Because, she knows Bella the best, and will probably recommend us or whoever. I like Miss Platt. I know her personally, though, too. And then, who does Mila have? But Mila's like, Bella needs to have all my teachers. And I told Mila, I was like, well, everybody learns a little differently, so a different teacher might be better for Bella versus Mila, or something.
Virginia's got also.
I really like her.
I think she's rigid. She's good for Virginia because she's
And that's all by Bella. Bella's good with that. Like, because Miss Kane is, Miss Amy, Miss Amy's a little less rigid, but still pretty,
hey, there's other people that distracting.
Yeah.
She does well with the laws.
Right.
There should be cognizant, y'all can continue to talk because it's getting started, but I'll text you.
Ready to go. Good morning. We're going to call this meeting to order. It's a workshop for the city of Fort Walton Beach on April 16th. And that's all I got. Yeah, you got it.
Thank you, Mayor. Just real quick housekeeping things. Bathrooms are out the door around the corner. There's some coffee and some donuts back there for those of you that would like something as we go. This is a PowerPoint slide that I emailed everybody, or Kim posted on last week's agenda, but Logan printed these off this morning, so obviously feel free to take notes and take them home with you. Any kind of questions that you may have after this, please feel free to call me. If I don't want to run through this real quick, so we'll take some time and talk over, but this is an open forum, so stop me in the middle, ask a question. We're going to have some of the directors give some more insight on some of the things we do. We've got Ms. Kopp will give some updates on a few things we've been talking about, but really the reason we really wanted to do this rather than trying to cram it into a council meeting or even a workshop before the council meeting is really an open discussion to have more public, just open public comments from you all. We can get a little bit more detail with some pictures and everything like that. So Devin did a great, you'll see as the slides go through, Devin did a really good job. A lot of these photos are almost live. He got these late last week, so they're up to date. So without anything else, we'll go ahead and get started. So last year's, this is a little bit different than last year. We had some new council members last year, and we were kind of going through, you all gave us as a staff your priorities. And we went through them, and some of them were a little bit different than others, but we narrowed the top ones down. So your priorities that you had listed to the staff last year were public safety and vagrancy, expansion of recreation amenities, employee retention, and the bridge downtown master plan and beautification was kind of incorporated into one. And the fourth one, obviously, is a multi-year. It's not something that's going to happen overnight, as you all know. We have a little bit of information on that, but that's something ongoing that everybody's been to the workshop. We've talked about it at council meetings, and that's something that will continue to be discussed as we go forward. But we'll just go ahead and jump into this. The first priority was public safety and vagrancy. This is something that we've had multiple meetings on. We've had some workshops. We've done some things internally here with council and council meetings, adding some positions that we feel like has helped. We know there's a little ways to go. We've got a long way to go with it. You know, the goal is to eliminate it or reduce it. I don't know if it's even right to say that we'll completely eliminate it, but at least reducing it heavily is a goal of ours for sure. Some positions to help us reach this goal, as you all know, is we contracted a police position for immediate operations. There's a quality of life officer and a code compliance officer position that Chief will talk about here briefly that has been posted and down to their top 3 interviews that they have recently done. So public safety vagrancy, and I'll bring Chief up here in a second, but just some of the updates. As you all know, the e-bikes that we brought out in front of council, those are pretty impressive vehicles. I said it's not really, those things are pretty heavy duty. The e-bikes were purchased and are being used to better patrol the downtown area. And officers are working the CRA detail, and as I mentioned a minute ago, we're in the process of selecting from the top 3 from the code compliance officer. And Chief, if you want to kind of come up and just speak a little bit some more of what you're doing, and Ms. Kopp can give an update on the Shell Station bus stop. We did get some information recently as Chief's making his way up that the Shell Station, they recently have brought in a U-Haul truck business because their Greyhound stops have gone down from 6 to about 2 a day, so they're losing some revenue, so they're trying to bring in another business, and we've gotten that information recently. So, but as Chief kind of gets finished with his, I'll let Kim give you guys an update of the Shell Station bus stop.
Sure,
Chief,
you want me to do that real quick?
Yeah, go ahead, sure.
So we have an LDC amendment ready to go that would remove bus stops as a permissible use in the entire city. Also, if the council is interested, we're prepared to draft an ordinance that would force the existing bus stop at the convenience store to cease acting as a bus stop over the course of several years, kind of amortize it out. We could also pursue regulating the existing bus stop from a safety standpoint prior to it being phased out. It would be recommended to pursue the 3 ordinances one at a time to avoid conflation and to give the necessary attention of each public hearing to the needed findings.
Thank you. Any questions, comments on that?
I think it sounds awesome.
Cool.
That's great work.
Thanks.
And I would love to see those come before council.
Yeah, like as I mentioned, this Chief's coming up here.
Jim, can you speak from here from the microphone?
Oh, you can, yeah, go ahead, yeah, that'd be great. But if you guys have questions, just
Does that mean the county transit bus stop?
start. Yeah.
So as Jeff talked about, you can see on the bottom corner of the screen right there, we looked at the vagrancy calls. We look at a vagrancy call as any call that was for a loiterer, somebody causing issues, the panhandling. It's a very generic type call. And you can see that those had decreased from 22 to 23. But correspondingly on that next chart right there, you can see our ordinance enforcement also probably corresponded about at the same proportion. That we wrote 34 in 22 and we up to 127 in 23. So we put the 2 kind of hand in hand, that we started enforcing the ordinances a little bit more, told people what were expected of them, and we have now seen that reduction in the call volume for vagrancy, not just in the downtown area, but in the city as a whole. As Jeff talked about, we had to work after the city council
passed the code compliance crime prevention officer. We had to finish the details to get it posted. We had posted it, it had gone out for 10 days, we got lots of applications that came in for it. We narrowed those down to a small set, we did backgrounds on the individuals, this will be working out of the police department. We narrowed that down to the top 5, and then we did a first set of interviews, now we're down to the top 3, and we will pick from that top 3 probably this week or very early next week, so we hope to have that person here by the very start of May, if not before the end of April. For the officers working the CRA detail, we started working that in March. March, we probably had about 50% fulfillment of the detail. And now in April, I think every day, but probably one day is filled, because I know that was one of the things we talked about, since it's a voluntary detail, how often it would actually be filled or signed up. The officers working the detail provide a little summary of what they did for the day. We will then put all that together and submit a report to the CRA at the end of each month. So for the month of April, there'll be a report going to the CRA sometime in the beginning of May. And we'll do that each month that we work the detail. You can see what businesses they went to, what issues they may have had, who they may have made contact with while they're out there. Currently, it's being run on Tuesday, Thursday, I think, Chris, Friday, Saturday?
I think, so, yeah.
So it's Tuesday, Thursday in the mornings, and then Friday and Saturday in the late afternoon, early evenings, when more people are coming to the downtown or the restaurants or different venues that are out there. So we think those hours have been very beneficial to the CRA in the downtown area. And the e-bikes have been working well. The officers like the e-bikes out there. They were a big hit at the last community bike ride. The community really liked seeing them out there. We probably had one of the better attendances at the last community bike ride. And hopefully the attendances just continue to increase at the community bike rides as the weather gets better and it warms up outside. So I think overall we have a good plan to address the quality of life. The ordinances that were passed last year, the multi-pronged approach to the enforcement of the ordinances that are out there, the increasement of visibility within the downtown area, and I think we're moving the needle in the right direction for the city.
Thank you. Any questions for Chief on that slide or in general? All right, moving on. So the next one, again, dealing with public safety and vagrancy, some of the SEPTED improvements, and I know Chris and his staff went over these at a council meeting in the last couple of months, but some of the things that you'll see that the SEPTED program does is it brings more lighting to areas. Councilman Schmidt and I met with some of the residents at Chester Brook Park about 2 weeks ago and brought up some of the dark areas in the park and just around the surrounding neighborhoods, and Lisa's going to get that on the schedule to upgrade those, and we'll do some tree pruning up in that park as well and get some better lights. Sound Park's on we've got the same poles that are coming to the landing and updating lighting at the Sound Park soon, as well as we've got some demo cameras that we're going to try over there that we just received in this past week, trying to get those hooked up at Sound Park that you can pull up stuff from your phone and stuff. The gazebo's fixed, repaired, get some lighting on that and change all the lights and everything out at Sound Park, so that should be lit up pretty well. Chris, if you want to add some things on your SEPTED and some of the updates that you've got.
Sure. So yeah, the projects listed here are a lot of the projects that we had discussed previously in the CRA board meetings, but kind of looking at it holistically across the CRA and then expanding it out citywide. We've done a variety of improvements at the Gulfview, from the cameras to screening some of the equipment there to the under building areas to prevent people from sleeping or kind of hiding out in some of those dark areas. 115 Church Street, that is the property behind ADSO, and that's one that we've done the fencing on the property behind them, which has helped, but also that's a completed project on that side, but then on the kind of current in progress side of projects, we are also still working with ADSO. Melissa's just recently met with them and working on putting together a plan specifically for around their facility, because they have a lot of dark areas, a lot of vegetation that just leads to people kind of hanging around, and with some of the surrounding uses on First Street there, they just kind of see some of the impacts of it. So we're going to be working on a SEPTED project around ADSO coming up soon to help them out. And then we have a couple of the streets here listed, Harbison, Carson, as well, that we've done some improvements, removed some vegetation, some dead trees, limbs, branches that are blocking visibility. Carson, we've been working with FPL on all these streets to get new or improved lighting. Carson has new lighting that was put up a few months ago. We're still working on Harbison with FPL and some backordered equipment and lighting out there. Also, we're going to be looking at for a upcoming project at Shell Avenue as well. We've heard from some residents in that area that there's some issues with lighting and visibility, so we're also working with FPL. I know it was one of the comments from Councilman Smith at the last Sierra board meeting was, also looking at ways to get these lighting assessments done, whether it was through private companies or FPL itself. So we're working on that side. FPL is giving us a hand to help do some of these lighting assessments on these streets coming up soon here. Some have been done already, and then we're also working with some private companies to help if it goes onto the private property side to get some of these lighting assessments done. And then Jeff mentioned too, outside the CRA, we're working on a plan to be able to do Ferry Park and then the rec complex, the tennis center, and kind of expand out from there outside the CRA to do some hours outside of CRA working for Elisa to get going on that. Mentioned Sound Park, so I won't go too much into that, but we are the gazebo is almost finished. It's getting very close. And we have, you may have seen an email that Devin sent out. We do have a planting project with Keep Local Is Beautiful coming up next week. And so we're excited for that. We've got the cameras that we demoed in the last week or so with the company, and they look pretty cool. So working through all these projects, we're planning to do more kind of as time allows and as we can work project by project. We can do these assessments, get project budgeted in, and moving forward.
Thanks, Chris. So these first couple slides with the SEPTED and vagrancy and things, that was the first priority. The plan today was to kind of go one priority at a time, discuss it when all the presentations have been done, some things that you all would like to see as a council, things that have worked, some things that we need to work on and get better at, some things we need to add to the mix. So at this time, I'd like to open it up to council for questions, comments on what we're doing on vagrancy and what you guys would like to see us get better at.
I guess just a recap. Thank you. We were in this building, a year ago, talking about your pay and your contract and all that kind of stuff. I reviewed the slides from a year ago. We've accomplished a lot of it, so thank you for working with the whole team and getting it done. Ms. Kopp, I'd say yes to all three, like Alfredo said, whatever order you think works best to get the fastest results. I'm in on all three of those. And then Chief Beige, definitely thank you. Everything you said, we're hearing that, we're seeing the emails and the text messages on the vagrancy going down in some areas, but we still have the First Street and the services and all that to get on. But I do have one question on the code compliance officer. How is that going to go? Because I've gotten different answers from different people on staff or whatever. But this new code compliance officer, it's vagrancy, but then it also, like the pontoon ordinances and stuff like that. Are we going to be able to mix those two together? And I say that because some officers have said, no, we're not doing that kind of stuff. We're just doing this. And it's like, no, the new code compliance officer is kind of to help
And the key word is
vagrancy,
there
but
is
Chris too.
new, so it's never been done before. So we're writing the rules as we go. So with the new code compliance community crime prevention officer, we will write their job scope to what we want it to be. So, and me and Jeff had already talked about, yes, they could do pontoon rentals. So if we want to have them at Liza Jackson Boat Ramp and issuing civil citations if we see a commercial person using the boat ramp, we can do that. We all along intended for them to help assist with their main role in code enforcement would be civil citations. I think notice cases would stay over in growth management. They would write civil citations for us. So as they were going around, there's trash behind a business, there's other issues. They work with the business first, give them a warning, tell them what we expect. If they don't come around, we issue them the civil citation. If they don't respond to the civil citation, we would then turn it over to code to go a notice case where we could get a running fine. So I think that model works with pontoon rentals, it works with anything that they would come across. The other part that we had in their job description was crime prevention. So the SEPTED stuff right here, and Chris kind of mentioned it, that the CRA is kind of restricted to SEPTED in the CRA. This person is a citywide person, so they'd be able to do some of this crime prevention stuff across the city too. What we don't know, since it's a new position until they physically get here, and the job tasks and responsibilities come in there, we gotta look how we're gonna divide up their 40-hour day. So we're gonna get 40 hours of work out of them, but as management, we're gonna decide what does that 40 hours look like? Is it gonna be 10 hours at Liza Jackson for pontoons, and then is it 20 hours walking through the downtown area, looking at First Street to see if there's anything in there that we can tighten up on to make the environmental conditions more conducive to a positive community? Because I think that's what their ultimate outcome of their goal is. And then maybe do they have 10 hours left then to do some SEPTED work throughout the city? But since it's a new position, it's really gonna be tested once they get here. And then what would be really great is if we get feedback from the council, from people in the community to say, hey, we're seeing an improvement here, it's still lacking a little bit there, we come back and then we readjust it and we go from there. So anybody that you're talking to, besides probably me and Jeff and maybe Chris, probably don't really know what this person's gonna do because we don't really have it locked in stone until they get here.
Yeah.
Well, and we talked about too this, I mean, when there's an illegal pontoon boat rental going out of house, you know, a code compliance officer walking up in a shirt knocking on the doors like, okay, wait a minute, the police are here. It's a little bit different than the other rounds.
Well, and that's why I wanna make sure, because you're right, so my answer to anybody who's discussed it with me is kinda like, no, this is the most important person on the team, it's gonna bridge the gap between,
Yes.
you know, the letters being mailed, and we need someone to knock on your door, some enforcement, so I don't know who the 3 applicants are, you're good at that process, I just hope one of them is, I'm thinking more of the pit bull type person, because that's what we need, not so much the friend type person.
And there
like we
is one that seemed to be a little bit more aggressive, and that might be the one that we wound up going with. I was gonna talk with the top 3 with
Yeah, I don't want a
Jeff.
friend of the community that's gonna hang out with everybody again. I think we need a pit bull that's gonna bridge the gap between.
And I'm glad we didn't pick yesterday and that we had the discussion today. That may change it a little bit.
And I don't know
Me
everybody
and
else's
Jeff will
thoughts are,
talk-
that's just mine.
Me and Jeff will talk about the top 3 and then we'll make the best pick for the community.
Yeah.
I mean, to follow up on that, I have to agree, I would very much rather someone that follows the letter of the law and a little bit less emotion. And then let us deal with the emails and the hate mail that we get, and we'll back y'all up, because this is, I mean, how many cycles have we been here talking about blight and vagrancy and stuff like that? It's because nobody's willing to get tough on it, because everybody's, you know, a little bit afraid of the blowback. I promise you this, if somebody picks up the phone and they call me and they complain that they got some kind of citation and they're out of code, the first thing I'm gonna tell them is well, if you get in code, you won't get a citation. Sometimes things happen, and that's what people need to hear, and that's what they will hear from me. You know, and I'm willing to take the heat for it, but I think that it's gonna continue to make our town look nicer. You could already tell, you know, I don't see anybody standing down at the corner of Perry and 98 every time I drive by now, and I can't tell you how many phone calls I've gotten from people saying, it seems like it's getting better. It's because it's less visible. So, you know, so we'll let the council and the magistrate deal with the blowback on all of this stuff, but if you guys can enforce these things, I mean, this slide right here's a perfect example of enforcement correlation. Your vagrancy calls are down, the amount of citations that you issued from last year to this year. So that was kind of be one of my big things going into this year is enforcement. You know how much I've been fighting with this parking lot here, and every day I drive by it, and there's more vehicles now than I think that there probably was last year. I think just because in the sense of us bringing light to the discussion, that they know at this point in time we can't do anything. So when people know you can't do anything, or you're not willing to do anything, they're gonna abuse it, and we gotta get it back in line. And so I'm excited for this position, and you know, like I said, we have staffs back 100% of the way, all the way. You guys do your job, and we will support you, and they will get zero sympathy from me, I promise.
I would just say that I was gonna highlight some of those numbers as well, Chief. Just excellent job.
Thank you.
On the enforcement aspect, I would tend to agree with both the other councilmen here that have spoken so far that it's probably more important to get a real nerdy, I'm gonna follow every rule type of person for that job, and then let everybody else kind of ease that, you know, smooth those rough edges. I was also going to ask, whether it's you or Chris, when we talked about getting an additional person trained in the CEPTED certification, is that best for the police department or for Chris's department, or like moving forward with that, I think is a really important priority. And, you know, doing those projects in Ferry Park and the other places in the city outside the CRA, obviously we can't do that without someone else in that process. And it certainly doesn't seem like that is a massive process to become certified CEPTED guy.
It's
So, I mean,
bigger than you think. I think CEPTED certification requires 3 40-hour courses or something.
Yeah. Yeah, through the state.
No, but there's different, well, there's like
Yeah.
residential, commercial, multifamily, so it's
so
a.
3 40-hour courses.
I believe so off the top of my head, because I think each one is a 40-hour course, so you have residential, you have commercial, you have multifamily. And the problem that we have here is that we're the left turn in the state, and most of the courses don't make the left turn.
Yeah.
Most of them stay on the proper part of the state of Florida, like Orlando, maybe they come up to Jacksonville, but they hardly ever make that left turn to come down I-10. So there's travel involved, but our goal is to get more people trained. The statute allows police officers to do it because they claim that you get some general CEPTED training in your academy. But it really helps out if you go through the Attorney General, I think it
Yes,
is.
it's the Attorney General's
The
office.
Attorney General's office's proper CEPTED. They teach you how to fill out the forms, what to look for, you're up on the current trends, best practices. So I think it's a combination of both, and it comes down to resource allocation. Do you want a sworn officer out there doing it? Because these can take sometimes an hour or 2 on site, and then several hours to write the report. So you may be 5 hours invested in
So
a
no.
CEPTED, or do you now find a civilian employee that can do it? But I think it works hand in hand where when the officer goes out there and they've gone through the training, now they're aware of what to look for and they can tell you informally, or if that person can't do it, then it can default to the officer, so we work it jointly. And I know the CRA's been doing a lot of them in the CRA area, and then we were gonna step in and maybe try to help out doing some of them outside the CRA, and especially with that new position, but like I said, that new position is new, so it's gonna be finding where that proper work balance is for that new position.
Well, we can also too, as although Lisa is in the CRA, we can also pay her out of the general fund to do some CEPTED analysis and things.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. We talked some, you know, Jeff and I, and
Yeah.
Lisa,
So
about,
that's
you know, a few hours, you know, during pay period that you can go outside of the CRA, you know, as a test program, as a pilot to see if it works, and then, you know, decide where it goes from there, working together, you know, with Chief Page and both
So that
sides.
sounds like the fastest way.
Yeah, that's what we're working on right now, is just to actually, yeah, allocate, you know, a few hours of pay period to get her out there, well, you know, since we have her.
Perfect, thanks.
I've been talking to some of the vagrants, they're very aware of what the CRA perimeter is, so they'll just go across the road. And they said, no, and I said, oh, so you are aware of what's going on. You know you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, you know. You know, so I encouraged to go beyond the current CRA, or can we expand the CRA? I think we were talking about that not long ago, about expanding our CRA area, you know, to accommodate the positions that we're talking about.
And some of it's city limits too. Bryce and I talked a couple weeks ago, some of them migrated over to Goose Island. Because they know the city, we're starting to get.
They adopt the city limits. I mean, they'll be at Cinco Bayou.
Yes.
So
Yes.
right there at Yacht Club and Eglin, everybody thinks it's Fort Walton. We'll get the complaints, but there'll be 2 or 3 deep there. They'll be at the Sun Plaza, which is on the wrong side of Mary Esther Cutoff.
Yes,
They'll be at Beale and Mary Esther.
yes.
So I mean, they will kind of outline the city for you now.
In Eglin and Hughes, the north side of Hughes, right?
Yes.
I've had 10 people in the last
Yes.
2 months, I've had to explain, they're just baffled that that's not the city. I'm like, the north side, so that's where they are now. And Government Ferry Park. I was gonna say about CEPTED, I don't know what exactly all the benefits are. I know a lot of it's come from the development side. The development side, if you're really CEPTED certified, but I just don't wanna overcomplicate the process of, if we love CEPTED, but we're only doing it in the CRA because we have CRA funds, we can basically just go, look, here's the 10 CEPTED policies, let's just apply these policies with our own team to Ferry Park. We don't have to be CEPTED certified to go do lighting and cut trees below 2 foot and above 6 foot, you know what I mean? I mean, I just don't wanna overcomplicate it.
Well,
So
no,
we can do step-dad policies all across the whole city on our own.
But yeah, that's what we were talking about with, Elise is funded out of CRA, but we can easily fund 8 hours 1 week for her to do the Ferry Park assessment or something, and so that's doable.
And Bryce, I think that's a great idea you brought up. I think the city should probably adopt as a whole the general subted principles, like you said.
Right.
Nothing over 2 foot, nothing under 6 foot, lighting. There's probably a handful of general subted principles that if we were to adopt at all city facilities and city properties, we can at least start the example and be the catalyst in the community. And maybe it's contagious, and then it starts spreading through the community. And Gloria, what you talked about with the CRA, we have enhanced stuff that we do within the CRA, but a lot of the strategies that are done in the CRA are done citywide. So we don't do stuff just in the CRA from the police department. We do stuff citywide, and then there are some stuff that is enhanced within the CRA because there's additional resources that are provided for the CRA. But we still, and if something's successful in the CRA, we still implement that across the whole city.
Good, thank you.
Chief or Chris, either one of you, do you need an increased budget? If we're gonna do the additional training, do you have the budget to do that?
I mean, the training, we can look, and we're working on the budget right now.
Yeah.
So I mean, we'll look and we'll try and see what the cost of SEPTED training is, where it's gonna be hosted at. A lot of times, the problem we run into is that SEPTED is such a hot commodity across the state that a lot of the courses are filled up, and you almost have to book them almost a year out. And it just gets complicated when you start trying to reserve, book travel, and everything else. But we'll look at our budgets, because we're in the budget process right now, and if we think we need an increase in the training or per diem budget or something else, we'll make that recommendation.
When we develop the budget sheets, especially with the directors, and they'll submit it to us, and anything above the guidelines that we give them, they'll put it on additional funds needed and why they need them. And then we'll look at that, as Nicole and I'll look at that. And then we'll bring that to the workshop we have in August, and we can discuss and say, hey, these were added, this is additional to what was in the budget, and you as a council say, yes, this is important, we'd like to add that. This is kind of like we did last year.
Thanks, Jeff. Thanks, Chief. Chris?
All right, any other comments on public safety vagrancy? And again, it's an ongoing process, it's not something that obviously stops today or tomorrow. We'll keep you guys updated on the position that's being interviewed and as we move forward. All right. The second priority that council listed was expansion of recreation amenities, and I think this is something that probably a lot of the emails, other than the vagrancy stuff that you all get, is different projects and when's this going to be done, and oh, I can't wait to get this done and this. And there's, as you all know from just the printouts that you have on the slideshow, there are a ton of things going on in the city, and I've been here close to 20 years, and we're doing more right now project-wise than I think I've seen in the last 20 years, and it's really good for the community, and I think the public's excited. So, and I know you all get emails and phone calls and talk to people when you guys are at different places in the community, and I know some of you are real happy to talk about these too, but so we'll touch on these as we go through, but the landing, phase 1 is supposed to be completed mid-May. That's the boardwalk, the seawall, there's some lighting. The T-dock, they're putting the last 2 pilings in yesterday. They'll put all the support boards and the decking on top of that, so that T-dock that has been out of commission for years will be back up and running. We did talk recently about the Bowl Lakes Festival is in May and using those docks and coming up through the middle. There's still a fence there, but they'll come up through the middle, and so you'll start seeing that park kind of taking shape. Phase 2 will come to council on the 23rd, next Tuesday. The bids came in Thursday. We had 2. One of them was a little bit less than 2.5 million. The other one was about 3.1, which was a little bit less than I was expecting. So that turned out pretty good. That includes the stage, tiered seating, and amphitheater. There's lighting. There's some things in phase 2 that'll really, I think, what everybody's kind of been waiting on at that park, and it'll be something that'll take shape pretty soon. That'll go to council on the 23rd. If it's approved, we'll issue the notice to proceed. They'll get going on that. Phase 3 and 4 will go out for bid in May and early June, and that would be, and the reason we had to do phase 2 outside of phase 1 because it's all kind of in the same area. But phase 3 and 4 would be parking lot, restrooms, entrance area, bowl upgrades, splash area. Some of those things won't really be in the middle of that the stage and everything like that, so it'll be a little bit easier for, if it's another contractor to come in and do that. I have this on another slide, but Mr. Norman that lives next to the landing has contacted Chris's department to divide the property, his property, for that whole front half to turn into parking. So once that's complete, we'll get a lease agreement with him, and that will come back to council at that point in time. Any questions on the landing? I do have a lot of pictures that we'll go through these. And again, Devin did a great job getting these pictures, and these are, a lot of these are pretty recent. Some were a little bit older, but you'll see the boardwalk. The seawall is complete. It's actually probably about 20 inches higher than it was, than it used to be, so that's actually really good. These are the pilings that are going up on the west side for the replacement of that T-dock. And again, this is to put the finishing touches on the boardwalk. If I'm going too fast, please let me know.
Yeah, where were you talking about that paint you keep talking about, the concrete paint?
Yeah, so
We're gonna try that at the library park, maybe?
we're going to try that at the library park.
We saw that concrete the other day in a picture, and I was like, man, if it works really good, it'd be cool to do down there. Because I did look at it after you told me about it, it looks awesome.
Yeah, for those of you that, and again, we were talking about this, there's a paint out there that's kind of a, when it gets wet, it shows up, so it's a, you can put art down on a sidewalk, and then when it gets wet, if it rains and the sprinkler hits it, the art kind of comes to life, so it's actually a pretty cool concept that we'll, we just recently found out from the Cultural Arts League, and you know, kind of raised an eyebrow, like that'd be kind of cool down in some different parks, and you know, obviously people aren't out playing in the rain, but you can have sprinklers and stuff go over them, and it's pretty cool concept there. This is the, again, it raised up 20, the boardwalk, the seawall raised up about 20 inches, so they kind of redid the entrance to that, to the left side, east side dock. This was a, this is a pocket beach area, which is on the east side of the park, and it'll be where you can launch kayaks, white sand beaches. It was a really steep slope, so we decided to tear this down and put some, this was kind of a last minute change. We added some of these steps, this rock wall there, and we'll end up putting some turf on there just to kind of probably be a premier seating for the fireworks, but it'll be a pretty cool spot there for that. That's on the far side of the park. Any questions on the landing? I know that's one of the bigger projects we have going on, and it has been for years.
Phase 2, I know you're just opening this now, but what's the duration of phase 2 from start to finish, you think?
We're hoping this time next year, summertime next year, and our plan is to, when the stage is done and all that, the major part of that's done, the other phases will be bid out as well, so when it's all said and done, we'll kind of plan a big event for that.
I just wanted to add thank you, and I can't wait to go to the next CDC meeting and tell them that it actually happened, because I feel like over the last year, it's like every other meeting, they're like, you're getting ready to lose your money, you're getting ready to lose your money.
Right.
Because it's been going on for a lot longer than, what, 4 or 5 years? So I'm just glad it's finally happening, so we can tell them we're.
And it actually will change the, you know, the makeup, the amphitheater seating kind of steps down with the walls. It'll be a really, really cool park, from the water side and the land side.
Surely with as much money as they're taking in now, they'd be more than happy to give us some more.
Yeah.
They will, once we complete the projects that we asked for 5 years ago.
Agree. That's right.
Now we can go back for,
That's right.
round 2.
That's exactly right. The Preston Hood Athletic Complex, the design plans are complete. We're working on the final scope to get out for bid. Once we get that out for bid, it'll be out for 45 or so days and get those back in. And this is a project that, as you all know, on Hollywood Boulevard, it would kind of lighten that area up. There's a bunch of mounds of dirt right there right now that will be removed as this bid gets sent out. But it includes some multi-purpose fields, parking lot, which is much needed. Mr. Berry can tell you that. Parking, we much need parking. The Parks Building concession restroom. The plans include some pickleball courts, basketball court, playground, some futsal, which is a smaller kind of hard court soccer area over here. But this project has been going on probably for a couple of years, and as we talk about the TDC being involved, and this is a project that when we submit TDC funding, especially in our 12.5% portion that we get, you have to show that it brings in visitors to the area. and what we've been able to do with the turf, which we'll talk about that here in a minute. You know, when you submit things and say, hey, the visitors do use this 50% of the time, or 40% of the time, or 60% of the time, that qualifies for that portion of funding. So if a project's $1 million and the tourists are using it 50% of the time, you know, you can get $500,000 from them. So it's something, and Bryce is on that committee. With that project, the bids will go out with grass on these multi-purpose fields, but as an alternate bid, we'll put synthetic turf, which we did on those baseball fields, and we'll see what the difference is, and that may be something that we, you know, that he takes back to that board to look at. But this, again, this project will add on to the Hollywood Boulevard kind of likeness we have over there, so definitely make that add. And I know Tiffany and her crew over there and the Parks crew, you know, those guys are amped up and ready to go. We see a lot of travel tournaments in the summertime, but also what this would do was kind of bring in the lacrosse and soccer tournaments that we haven't really had the facilities to do. We have them, but when you're at 3 or 4 different areas at Ferry Park and City Hall and Oakland Fields behind Home Depot and the Preston Hood Complex, it's really, really hard to run a tournament at 4 different locations. It increases your admin and your staff by 4 times. So this would really help from that aspect.
And Jeff, I'm sure we're gonna do it anyway, but when that gets started, I know it's gonna take a couple of years, wrap some fences with some banners, that way all those people that are in town for a tournament at the existing park are like, oh shoot, that's what's going on over there right now, you know what I mean? That's gonna be awesome.
The plan is to, and you don't really see it on there, have and I call this a river walk, but it ties, we've got a mile-long trail at the complex now, but it'll tie into that, so it'll be closer to almost a 2-mile walk than it would be a mile, so it'll be a nice trail. Yes?
And also, include in your advertisement, city map, show them where Hollywood Boulevard, not Martisa Road, okay?
You're right. That actually would be the main entrance for all soccer, football practices, football games, flag football, even the tournaments in the summer. This would be the main park, and there's close to 400 parking spaces.
Yeah, because they found out that we have gates to that park, and we can just walk through there.
Yeah,
No, you can't.
We don't want that.
Well, that's what,
Yeah.
can we just park in your driveway?
You start charging.
Well, I was gonna ask about that, you know, $50 an hour or something, you know.
Put that up on an Airbnb driveway.
Yeah, I was thinking about tearing down my house anyway and making a parking lot, you know, shoot.
Hey, Jeff, real quick, I'm sure it's probably part of this whole thing, maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but I think it'd be a great idea to use this whole area and the money that's going to that to also upgrade the signage and, as I heard in a city council meeting one time, wayfinding, like around the entire complex, because it's a huge complex. And I can't tell you, it's like every year I coach some sport out there, and parents are inevitably like, oh, we parked, like where, just, so like if there's just at every entrance a big sign that says like, here's the layout of like a mall
Yes.
or whatever, you know, like here's Macy's, here's whatever.
Yeah, and Tiffany,
I mean,
we
we
actually
got
talked
this
about
guy.
interior, some signage. We had some of the old shade structures that we had, of the mesh shade structures, had a black tall pole in the middle of it. Well, we left those there because they were buried in the ground and got the aluminum steel, I don't know I think you guys have seen pictures of them. There, we had 15 new structures, but we left the poles there for some signage that they're gonna, directional field 1 through 5 and stuff. But yes, that's a good point. We'll add "You Are Here" type signs, and that's something that Tiffany and the staff could do.
Yeah.
For sure.
Like that perimeter, you know, that trail, you know, that goes around, would be good
Well,
signage.
Paid
also.
for parking, 220 Martisa.
That's right, that's right, you know, I'll stand out there with the sign.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay, did you talk about pickleball courts too?
Yeah, and this doesn't show it on this map, but, so these fields, we slid over a little bit, and this one's a little bit more straighter. The pickleball courts will be here, a basketball court and some playgrounds right there, and this area would connect to this is what, over here would be where the 5 fields are, and there'll be a walkway through there. And this rendering was from the we don't have an updated rendering from the design plans that are done.
Yeah. How about pickleball courts on Jet? Is that included in any of this?
We'll get to the bathrooms here. The pickleball courts on Jed Homes with the bathroom. I've got a slide on that, but that's coming here pretty soon.
Yeah, that's what I've been telling them.
It is.
Yeah.
It's already, yeah, the piping, the Daniels crew's already put in the utility and everything to work on it.
Well, that's what they're asking. I said, it's coming, it's coming.
It is. So the cemetery, I know a lot of you maybe not drive through here a lot. This was a project that we were really anxious to get accomplished. The old building that was there at the entrance of Beale was in pretty bad shape and had been there for many years. This is, not a gigantic building, but it for the staff of the cemetery, for people to come in and reserve plots and schedule their funerals and things like that. It's really nice. If you get the chance to stick your head in there, please do so. Tiffany and the crew, and Janice, they did a really good job of picking the furniture out. It just really fits in there well with the new clock tower, which we're in the process of getting sandblasted and painted. That'll start. We're either, if we can get it done before the Memorial Day event there, we will. If the crew can't get it done before then, it'll be right after that. But that clock tower that we have in that by the cemetery, that's getting repainted as well. Heritage Park and Cultural Center in addition, I know many of you drive by this probably on a daily basis. This is a project that, again, we're really excited about. It gives frontage to the road. Chris Gibson, many of you know her, donated the property where the Blue Water Zoo building was for many years to the city. It was deemed that was unrepairable. So we demoed that and are constructing a 4,500 square foot addition there. The steel beams are being erected right now. We're looking at about an August completion for that. It'll be a really nice addition to downtown. You kind of don't really see anything there. It kind of looks old. There's fencing up there now, but it'll be definitely a nice addition. As you can see, obviously the footers have been installed here. And this is you have an elevator in there. This is the elevator tower. And that little section right there will be the entrance from the new addition into the existing building. So there'll be a classroom for all the school kids that come through there, big gift shops, and admin buildings, and really just the main entrance into the museum. And again, thanks to Devin for all these pictures. And again, these were done, I think, probably Thursday or Friday last week, so these are really up to date. Eliza Jackson waterfront upgrades, and this is something that Travis and I have worked on for quite a while, and picking his brain, he goes to different water facilities throughout probably the country, but we really wanted to. Eliza Jackson is such a great piece of property, right on the sound. There's some things in there with the boat trailer parking. It just looks messy and needs upgrade. Okaloosa County had earmarked $1 million for some waterfront amenities in Fort Walton Beach, and we took them up on it. And Commissioner Goodwin, that was some money earmarked from him that he was real excited about this project. And so, we've got a design team together. They should be done about late May, mid-June with the design plans. And some of the upgrades that you see right now, those of you that are familiar with Eliza Jackson Park, it'll bring in a lot more boat trailer parking. Some of the parking here, we've changed a little bit. This was an earlier rendering. The parking will go up here a little bit and not kind of take all this green space in front of the water, so it'll kind of be up here a little bit to the north of where the playground is. We'll bring in a new brand new bathroom and get rid of those beat up old structures that we have there. A lot better entrance and exit for the boats, and an extension of the dock, which actually causes some issues right now. There's an extension of the dock for you can tie up and get your boat and trailer parked, or drop it in the water and to go get it, or tie it up and to go get your boat. There'll be 54 new boat trailer parking spaces. We'll update the playground, new pavilions. Some of those are beat up. It'll be kind of a renovation of this whole park. And this is something that falls into one of those projects, and we've all talked about it since it started. But these are TDC funds and half-cent sales tax funds that Okaloosa County gave us. Is earmarking $1 million towards this. These are what these funds are used for, and it's really good to put it back into the community for a cool project like this. And that's what those funds are earmarked for projects like this. So it's something that's really, we're excited about getting it started. Once the design plans are done, we'll get it bid out. Hopefully we can get moving on this one.
Talking about new restrooms and lighting, Will there be locks on the restroom doors?
Absolutely.
Automatic locks or just?
It'll be they'll be locked one way. Some of the automatic locks work, they're working at Ferry Park now pretty good.
They are.
Now. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we, Tiffany and them got with one of the local companies, and they actually specialize in that, so they come and they can program them, and when you get them changed and stuff, they can do that.
And the electricity in the pavilions, are they gonna be shut off? Or unless they're rented?
Yes, we get those billed, yeah, we can get the control.
So they can't, so people can't just,
Yeah, we can definitely do that.
Okay.
Those put those locks.
okay.
But again, this is one of those parks where, and you can't see on here, the dog park is up top there with the red lobster side, and the playground parking on that side. So it's a gigantic piece of property that's, really one of the first things you see as you come into the city of Fort Walton Beach. So it'd be nice to have that done as well.
Jeff?
Yep.
Talk about dog park. Is there anything we can do with the, like over at Ferry Park? Can we have a run or something over there? You know what I'm talking about? The complaints about the people letting their dogs off leash.
Yeah, to add a dog park over there, or not have them on leashes at Ferry Park.
Well, I'm asking, I'm asking if there's a possibility that we could have like a dog run there at Ferry Park.
We'd have to look at some space. We're as we'll get through the slides, we're adding a few other areas there right now. It's gonna be difficult to have a dog running space at Ferry Park. But the Liza Jackson Park and some other, it's difficult to have it just for that. And here's the thing about the dog parks, is somebody's cleaning the dog waste up in the park, and then you're mowing it and things. So if you've got multiple ones of them, it's a maintenance issue. Liza Jackson Park is one of those things that our crews go and try to keep it up, but it's a wetlands area over there, so it stays wet quite a bit. So.
Because I'm getting more complaints other than the person that usually emails us about, and the people and they're the same people that are constantly doing it and ignoring the signs and ordinances and.
Right.
So can we have some more, you know what I'm asking?
Yeah, to go out there, monitor the area and force the dogs off the leash.
I almost took a picture for you guys to Coach T-ball. And on the west side of the field over there, there's that little corridor you can come through that's got the sticks at it, that's got the all dogs must be on a leash, and here comes a guy coming out of it with both of his dogs off the leash.
I didn't see the sign.
No, they don't care.
They don't care.
That's what it is.
I would agree with both of them. I get 2 or 3 texts a week with people, and it's like he said, they use the soccer field. They think that fence is a dog park, and they use the soccer field, and they use this and use that. So I don't know if having just a small section to say you have it is good to say. It's easier to enforce it, because you can say do it right there, not over here, or go to another park, but it's definitely, I get 2 or 3 texts a week from somebody sending a picture.
It's tough. We could look at it. There's some areas out there that we could probably add some fencing and dog only.
I would also add, Chief, that, and I know you already probably have this on the list, but in the order of enforcement, that would probably be somewhere down, almost underground, as far as top priorities, just because, a couple people email or text us that they're mad that somebody's dog is off the leash, not a huge deal.
We balance and prioritize everything.
I saw people jaywalking across queues as well, right there by the park, where there's clearly marked crosswalks, so not a huge problem. But
I would agree with the priority list, but I would put grass at 13 inches, dogs up the park. I'd put them all number 1 and just enforce every day on one. But I'm with you. But that's probably the single most one, just being in the park, that I get every week. But I blow them all.
We'll look at it, Tiffany. We'll look at a spot, see if we can get a fence in there. We used to have one actually by the parking lot. As you come in up where the park is, as you come in to the right, there used to be a fence in there. It used to be a playground. When the playground kind of fell apart, we moved it across the road. That was still a fenced-in area. So, it wasn't a gigantic, you get a dog park room about half the size of this. It's an area this half the size of this. It's better than nothing, but it doesn't do.
Is the one uptown station still in existence? No.
And I don't think a lot of people that go to that park, Jeff, because the ones we have written a few citations to, most of them believe their dogs are just really well behaved and they can walk without a leash. And they like to have the disc golf, they like to walk on the trail with the dog. it's not like we live in an urban environment and there's nowhere for their dogs to go, where you traditionally have a dog park. They just like being out there with their dogs unrestrained.
That's right.
I don't disagree with that, but the fact of the matter is, there's an ordinance against it, so.
There is.
If you wanna be somewhere unrestrained with your dog, go somewhere where you don't have to have.
Well, we actually, in the ordinance, when you read it, so dogs have to be, I can't remember the exact words, it has to be under direct command or something like that, so it was kind of, there was a gray area where, hey, they are, and so, but the leash law is something that we.
Timber Lake's a great area to go out and take your dog off leash and not have to worry about anybody.
The turf at the Preston Hood Complex is done. It was finished in March, and they really pushed it to get it done by the start of, there were some Kentucky teams in playing softball, and the only comments we got were this is amazing. So, we look forward to, and I know Gloria is better than anybody, and we've talked over the years, the early morning, it would be 3 o'clock in the morning, and we'd have rain, heavy rain, and we'd be on the phone, hey, we gotta get up there and get water off the field, we got people, it's gonna be sunny at 8 o'clock, and there's gonna be 2,000 people in here. This prevents all of that, so it's really something that's, was much needed at a complex like this, but not only a playing surface, and Nick and I were having this conversation right before the meeting, that it's, the ground balls and everything are just so pure that it's really cool to play on, but as far as a maintenance standpoint, it really helps our crew out, and it helps the surrounding neighbors. So we do, I submitted the fields 9 and 10, which is the large fields for TDC funding for fiscal year 24-25, and hopefully that'll be approved through that, so all of our baseball, softball fields would be.
Would it be possible to shift some of the costs that it used to incur, maybe hour-wise, whatever, equipment-wise, to maintain the front part of those fields into the parts that are not turf, like the outfield specifically? Because it is just like a drastic difference. And I mean, the plan is not to put turf in the outfield as well, right?
Correct.
Okay, so if we could hire somebody that is great at thickening and growing grass.
This will definitely help that. A lot of times you spend dragging and getting pumps and stuff at an infield. Now it's going to be fertilizing and top dressing and aerating and watering.
And I know you can't do it like all during the season while there's a bunch of people there playing on it and whatnot. I don't expect it to happen overnight, but as long as there's a plan going forward to make it beautiful, because I mean, it's awesome. Like it is really, really cool.
We've talked about this a few times in council meetings and workshops and stuff. Our park restroom plan, as you know, we replaced the ones these are those prefabricated concrete restroom structures. The roof's concrete, the sides are concrete, the floors, everything, they're a lot easier to maintain and hold up for a long time. And, we've been told if there's a hurricane coming, you can climb in one of these and you'll be fine. Mooney Park, we completed that one in 2022. The one at Ferry Park was done this past year. Jet Holmes Park is due in June, July this year. If you drive by there, it's Daniel's crew's already put all the pipes and stuff. And what they do, they bring those restrooms, as you can see right there, in a crane and drop it. There's about a 12-inch gap in the concrete, and they drop it right on top of those pipes, and then they seal it. It's a pretty cool process. And then our Daniel's guys, get the concrete and stuff poured around it and finishes it up. The ones in the future, it's part of the landing project to do 2 restrooms there. Eliza Jackson, as we spoke about earlier, is getting a new restroom in that project. And also Chester Pruitt Park, that will be one that we'll need to look at here in the future because that one's pretty beat up. Some other projects, and I kind of added them all on this sheet, but some of the projects that you all have been a part of recently, on the left side there, and that's just a rendering that Daniel did, but it's the 5 pickleball courts that we'll be adding at Ferry Park. It's been laid out. We're getting prices right now on the asphalt, the lighting, court surfaces that does the resurfacing, that actually puts down that acrylic paint. That will be going up right next to the soccer field there on the east side. The fitness court, as we just went to council last month, that we're in the process of getting a purchase order to them. They ship it here, and then we pour the base and then they ship have to get an installer to install all that. So that's something that's gonna be two really, really cool things out of the Ferry Park. Other projects that we have going on, the lighting, the cameras at Sound Park, Chris mentioned those a little bit earlier. We have some cameras in it we're gonna test run over there. New lighting, structures over there that will actually brighten that park up quite a bit. Obviously, the pickleball complex and the fitness courts at Ferry I just spoke about. The murals downtown, that was approved at council for Christina Donahue to do that. She's working on, we heard council's input at the last 2 meetings ago. She's working on some upgrades to that. We kind of heard some brightness, some color, taking pictures, kids taking pictures with the murals. So she's working on that. She actually was excited to hear that. And she said, that's actually what I wanted to do in the first place, but from talking to people, it kind of sounded like library, so she was actually anxious to hear that. So very exciting. She's got a mind that's well beyond mine for art, so I'm anxious to see what she comes up with there. The library park, we have the bid package is out for the turf right now. It went out last week. We'll finish, we've got some insurance requirements that we're hoping to get done with Paul Dawson this week.
Yeah, he said he sent it out to underwriting, so we ought to have something this week that kind of lays out cost.
Yep. Perfect on that. That library park would be, we're looking to do turf there, trees, irrigation, some lighting, some benches. Elisa sent over some really cool benches a couple weeks ago to us that would be pretty unique there. We're going to do a little 12 by 20 platform. You can call it a stage platform to do some book reading things, a little acoustic, person playing there just on a Friday afternoon, something like that. So kind of a little really, really cool area there. It'll make that area look great. The First Tee facility, they're in the fundraising process right now. We're hoping, they were hoping to have funds completed by this time next year. So they've got the plans done for the project. They're getting some funding, and that'll probably be a little bit, unless they get a big time check from somebody, that'll be a process that they hope is completed by this time next year, and then they can start getting that project built. I know you all have received a couple of emails in the last couple of days about Hollywood Bay water access. The design plans are done for that. Daniel's crew has those. There's been signage, there's been additional parking we've added, and I know that neighborhood's been kind of back and forth with each other with the stuff going on 44 Bay Drive. Our plan is to, the plans show a saw cutting the road back about 20 feet, lifting it up so it would kind of prevent all the washout, adding beach sand there, having sidewalk run all the way down on the right side of the road to tie into that park. I say park, but water access. I have some benches down there and a split rail fence and just kind of brighten the area up, make it look nice and kind of hopefully it'll stay in place and not wash out. But that's a project that we, estimated cost for that's about $100,000. That's one of those projects that we, if we bid it out, getting RFP plans together, an RFP together and the scope of work and getting that out. In our purchasing, as we're going through all these projects, we have got a ton of projects and bid packages we're doing. That's one of those projects that we got to look at as a staff and, just go to the top of the list here, second tier, right in the middle, where are we going to do that? Can we do some of this stuff in-house? So those are some decisions that we're looking at right now. But we do get the same emails that you all get, and I know that we got to come to a solution there on that one. Landing golf cart parking, that's where that old Venture Hive was, and we've got some drawings on that. That will be one of those projects too that's in, we're trying to prioritize some things right now because some of that stuff will be, we've got the contractor that does that. As well as the extra parking lot that we talked about, Mr. Norman's property, that'll be coming up to council sometime in the next couple months as well. So those projects right there definitely will enhance what we have at the landing. The golf cart parking lot at the landing will be not only look way nicer than it does now, but it'll be very well used. The water access at Hollywood, water access Brooks Bay is what I was talking about earlier. The end of Hollywood is what we're working on. Councilman Schmidt and one of the neighborhood residents there the end of Hollywood, if you go all the way to the end of Hollywood and Bay, if you went all the way down to the water, just kind of there. There's a concrete structure there that kind of sits about 2 feet above the ground and just needs some upgrades. So we've got the purchase order's already out.
It is, it's already been awarded, and they have the purchase order, they're going to start that probably this week. They've been in touch with Chris's department to get the permit, so as soon as I get that, we'll start seeing that.
So one of the residents in memory of her husband donated some benches, so we're building a nice deck at the end of the park with some lights, so that it kind of curves down towards the water, but it'll flatten it out, and the benches will be mounted to it, so it'll be a really nice place to sit out, look over the water, so that's gonna be a really cool project. But just another one of those, again, we said we got a lot going on, but some of these, when they're done, it's gonna really shape our community, and it's something that we're all proud of. The Chester Pruitt Legacy Walk, we were actually pretty happy to be involved in that one. It was a kind of beat up portion of Chester Pruitt Park on the northeast corner. Some of the brick pavers that were installed many years ago were busted up, but we had, there was 132 names or organizations that we had pavers installed a nice new brick wall on that, and they had the ceremony on Saturday. It was very well attended, and they did the ribbon cutting, grand opening stuff, so that was a really cool thing to be a part of on that. That was, it's something that will be there for a long time. Really nice. Any questions on expansion of recreation services and/or all the projects that are going on?
I've had some comments about, there's another park on, is it Bay and Shore?
Yes.
There's a little, and it looks like some of the residences have
It's a water,
gotten close to the
water access.
Yeah, and they're using that as their driveway. And there's been comments made about.
Yeah, about
the legality
15
of that.
years ago, we put some signs up there that said no parking. At that point, there were cars that were driving all the way down to the water, trucks and back, sitting there and playing loud music, and the residents at the time that lived on either side were complaining. So we put some signs up there that said no parking beyond this point. It is an entrance into the water access. Most of the time, it's not really a parking lot. Most of the time, it's for the neighbors to kind of walk through there and just go sit by the water, bring a lawn chair or something down there like that. There was a bench down there at one point in time. We had those shrubs on the left side of that entranceway trimmed up probably about a year and a half ago or so. It kind of opened it up a little bit. There was a resident across the street that wanted that to be done. So we did that. But again, it's a water access similar to the one at Hollywood Bay, and then at Brooks and Bay at the corner.
Because they were concerned, neighbors were concerned about the residents on either side using it as their driveway.
And they do and can.
Yeah, isn't the first like 25% of that technically a road?
Yeah, it's right away.
Like an easement, like.
No, it's right away.
It's right away.
Yeah, most of those small access parks are right away. So
Okay.
just like we allow driveways on right away, that's kind of where the conflict, I think.
All right. One of the other priorities the council had was employee retention. As you all recall, it was about a year ago in June, we brought a pay and classification study that was approved. We put that into place last year. We constantly get we try to get employee feedback as much as possible and doing some quick wins, and we're doing little things. We have some events coming up. We've actually the 25th coming up here in about a week and a half. We've got an employee field day up at the rec center. We're doing some cornhole and pickleball and feeding employees. We try to do something in the spring and do something in the fall, which is government week, but we try to do a few events during the year just to kind of let the employees, just relax a little bit, be around other employees that you maybe talk through email on a day-to-day basis or on the phone. We don't really get to interact with them a lot. So some of these events, I think, help, employees, get to know each other quite a little bit better, and helps with the morale. There's health and wellness plans that we offer throughout the year. Terry can touch on some of this. And in the past, we've offered tuition reimbursement for them to kind of grow themselves as an employee or something they may be interested in doing, but Terry, and some other things that you got, your team has been doing too, if you want to add.
Yeah, like I said, our biggest thing is just recruitment and retention, and it's tougher and tougher. I think, in my opinion, we've done a little bit better in terms of some of the admin positions and just the sheer number of applications we're receiving. I still have those positions that I struggle on, which tend to be your technical blue-collar positions, your mechanics, your service workers. Still struggle with police and fire, trying to get enough people to apply. Unfortunately, with the whole police world, they've kind of made it a bad thing to be. So you're seeing a little bit of improvement in that, but that's still one of the toughest ones I have to fill. And we're down several positions over in PD. Fire, when we do open it up, nobody applies anymore. So normally we get 15, 20 people. We might get 2 or 3 that set up to come out for our physical agility testing and things along those lines. So again, we do everything we can do to try and look at ways to bring people on board. I think our department directors are fantastic with treating our people well, respecting our people, building the culture that they want to work here and want to stay here. But the downside of that is we've got 3% unemployment. So again, you're looking, funds do play a factor into it. Like Jeff said with the pay and class study, great, we got everybody up to where we need to be, but that becomes obsolete the minute that the county realizes we got a pay increase, they look at a pay increase. So there's a lot more that goes into it though, and again, I think it's building the culture, taking care of the employees, having these little silly fun days where we go out and provide lunch and do employee recognition. Same when we bring them to council and all that. So, I'm always open for feedback. Gloria knows it. Again, the CDL operators, we've done better. I'm actually in pretty good shape over there. So that's, like I said, there's a handful of positions. I don't know if you're ever going to have them lined up like they used to be. But I do see a little bit of turning with some of the admin, just the sheer number of applications we're getting. But I'm open for feedback and anything we can do. And like I said, Jeff is great to work with on stuff like that too.
Where do we stand police-wise? We set ours, and then does the county immediately raise theirs to be?
Yeah, that's pretty much how it is. And none of us can compete with Walton County, So we've lost so many firefighters recently over to Walton County just for that reason. Right now, our unemployment or our turnover is at 16%. Over the past year. I've got police at 17%, fire at about 15.5%, parks and rec at 12%, growth management at 11%, and utilities along those lines too at about 11-12%. So citywide, we're at a little over 16% turnover.
All right, anything on that?
Just want to compliment the field day situation. I think, obviously you can't do those things once a week or even once a month, but you have those kind of things like that, that's huge for morale. Just like you said, if you're emailing back and forth with this person, you don't know them, you've never really interacted with them a whole lot, it's so huge, man. And if somebody's making the decision between taking a 1% pay increase to go somewhere where they don't know anybody versus like, hey, that's something to think about. So really, really nice job.
Nicole and I are on the same pickleball team, so we have practice.
We're going to take it down.
We're probably better butt meat if he doesn't practice.
All right. So, and this was obviously important. This was on everybody's list too, the council priorities, but number 4 was in the top 4 with the bridge around the mountain. This is something that I wanted to add on this slide. I know everybody knows that the bridge is being built, and I know everybody knows we're in the middle of around the mountain, but I wanted to put it on the slide just to see if anybody wanted to add any more comments on it. As you get into some of these, it kind of shows you the project location map. We're in the middle of the PD&E study, which is hopefully should be done about mid next year, Daniel, about June?
It'd be early 2025.
So early 2025, so really even not that far away. And some of the stuff that some of you attended and what's going around on social media and things that you see, alternative 1A and 1B. I think we as a city, and especially you as a council, have really been on the same page on supporting around the mountain, and it shows a lot for our community that we, not necessarily a certain alternative, but just the actual around the mountain project, and that goes a long way. I know getting a project to this massive completion to get this done and to everybody be on the same page to do it is really tough to do. So I really put this up here. If you guys have some questions, Daniel's got some, you know, any sort of questions Daniel and myself can answer them for you. And again, I just wanted to put this one up here just for, because it is a big part of our community right now.
On the slide here, I see, is that the Waffle House that's gonna remain there? You would be surprised how many people have asked me about the Waffle House.
Don't mess with
Because
it.
apparently
So, it's, I say not a running joke, but I think the most surprising thing from all the bridge work was that the Waffle House remained. And I tell Jeff sometimes in a frustrated yet jokingly tone that of the bridge project, I probably spend, 75% of my time on the bridge project with how to keep the Waffle House in service, which we did. So that's done. It's staying.
I'm gonna bring the slide, I'm gonna show it to them.
They might not see the light of day, but it'll be there. Yeah, just going back to like the bridge stuff, the city's utilities and stuff and assets that they have should be finished up by the end of this fiscal year. And I think, for us, that's, the big part of it is front loaded to us. It's a lot of stuff you probably don't see on a daily basis. And once it starts, you kind of move it on. But we are over there, just about daily in some form or fashion. But that should be wrapped up here by the end of this fiscal year. You will see some other traffic pattern changes that'll come out. You'll see Florida Blanca closed here before June, and then you'll see a full closure of Brook Street under the bridge. There's just no option other than to do it. That's going to happen for a period of time. Now, what is that period of time? It's probably going to be 30 to 45 days, God forbid 2 months, but you will not be able to go underneath it. But we'll keep the public information open so everyone knows ahead of time. They have to lay some substantial amount of utilities, and they're not small. It's the water line to the county, to the island that the county has. It's the sewer line, and it's twin 48s, and they're all in the same hole. So you can imagine that excavation going. So we'll keep everybody updated, public information share on that side, but that is coming sooner than later on that end.
I was at the workshop at the library, the Oculus Walton TPO, and they were impressed with our pledge and appreciated that. So you'll be talking later this week, I think, on that. Yeah. Thank you for the waffle. I'm going to take this. I'm going to put it in there.
Sure.
That in the bathrooms.
All right. At this time, I'm gonna have Nicole come up and talk a little bit about the ClearGov, and then we'll go over the C-Click fix, which just went live yesterday.
You need to get in that link to get in.
Oh, he's got it. Yep, just minimize it. You're gonna probably need to use this microphone.
Okay.
Do you need to type it?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, let's take about, while she's getting this, let's take about a 3 or 4 minute break. If you guys want to get a cup of coffee or a donut or something, bottle of water, and then as she's pulling that up, we can run back. Okay. We'll take a break.
Like a year.
Okay. Yeah, 'cause you can't. Actually, that'll work.
Okay.
citation.
Yeah.
All right, we'll go ahead and get started. Really, the last couple of things we're gonna go over, the ClearGov that Nicole, and she's gonna kind of be facing the laptop, so, but she does have a microphone over there, and then we're gonna go over the C-Click fix, and then any kind of wrap it up with any questions or comments or anything that we want to discuss there, and then we'll get you on your way.
All right, so this is for, oh, no, you're good. So this is, we're about 95% done. Honestly, without Carol Godwin, we wouldn't be where it is. So thank you, I know you're watching somewhere, wherever you are. But what this will be, we have a few more things that ClearGov has to fix on their side, and there'll be a link on our website that you guys can click in, and you'll be able to, this is the transparency module that you guys approved when we did the budget software. So you'll be able to go in here, you'll be able to dig down. What I'm gonna do is kind of show you kind of how you guys can look in there. Sorry, my back is to you. So when you go down, you'll be able to see just basic demographics and different things. You'll see just your general revenue and expenses. When you click in here, you'll be able to go down in all the different funds and dig and drill down. You can download your financials here, so that'll give you, and we'll probably do a monthly update. Because right now, they can't, it's not integrated automatically with our system, so we have to send them an Excel spreadsheet that takes them a few days to turn around and then upload it into the system, and then we have to make sure that they upload it correctly, because we don't want bad information up there. That better? Oh, I got it turned off. But then you can go, and when you're looking, you can go up here. And for, let's say you want to look at all of our expenditures. And you can go down. And so you have a chart, which I like the bar chart a lot better. You'll be able to kind of see an overview. And then when you go down, you can actually, so I'm going to just go into public safety because it's right there. You can view the breakdown. And then when you go in, you can see, again, it'll break it down into a bigger chart. Then you can, let's say we'll just go into police, and we can dig it down, and any citizen or you guys can look at this, and then there's more detail. So that's all personnel services, and if you look in here, you'll be able to see your actuals and your budgeted, and so monthly this will be updated, and it'll be the same thing with revenues as well. So that's kind of the transparency portion of what this is. This isn't the budget book, this is just what will be our actual. We're also having to upload the final 2023 numbers in here after the audit, and once that's done, this will be live on the website, and I'll send an email out to everybody, kind of where to go and how to look at it. So if you guys have any specific questions about it, let me know. I'm still learning, as everybody else is learning, and staff right now is using this on the back end to start the fiscal year 25 budget.
So at some point, is this going to be integrated with your accounting software, so you don't have to manually send the spreadsheets back and forth?
Yeah, they're working on it on their end. That's part of the next year goal, is to be able to just automatically do it. That's what our grant software will be doing.
And then I've seen some of the cities' websites, you saying that there's gonna be a link on our website, but I've seen some of these cities' websites actually have like a widget that's on the main page of the website that actually has, instead of pressing a link and going to it, you can actually, it's integrated within the website and you can access it.
Yeah, it'll be something like that. I gotta work with IT on that part of it, so. But this will be, so any citizen can come in here, dig down, and then there's a spot on, hold on, let me see if I can pull it. I think it's on the overview, where citizens can comment. See, it says join the conversation. So I'm still working with ClearGov to see how that works, and I don't know if it's gonna be under a department or a main general thing, where if a citizen asks a question, who it goes to and how that works. We're still working on that portion of it as well. But it would be good to get the citizen interaction on this part.
Do they have the ability to give us some analytics that compares us against other cities that are similar to our city?
They might, I can ask. Does anybody else have any specific questions? Well, I'm excited to get this up there and going. It's been a process. I know anybody that's implemented software knows the back and forth, and a lot of it is usually the IT side of it, just getting it rolling, but we're almost there. So stay tuned. I'm really sad Councilman Walker's not here because this is his Super Bowl.
That's right, that's right.
Oh, don't worry, he'll join the conversation.
Oh, I'm sure he will. All right, thank you guys.
All right, and the last thing we're gonna go over here is the C-Click fix, and I would like to thank Logan. Logan jumped into this with both feet and worked with the tech company to get all this installed here, and it's gonna be really something cool for our community to have, but he's gonna kind of jump on this and show you as I'm talking through it, but when you go to our, it's easy, it's just as easy, maybe even easier from your phone. You can download it, whether you have an Apple or a different type of phone, you can download the app. If you're walking by and you see a pothole, you can take a picture and send it, and it'll send it to the group, or to the department that would be responsible for fixing it. But Logan's gonna show you how to do it through the desktop. So just on our main desktop, you'll see where you click on report a concern, and it'll take, you'll click on that to go to the next site, and then you'll see where it brings you to the C-Click Fix site. And all you would do is, you know, if you're putting it, you gotta type in your address where you're at. We're at 107 Miracle Street Parkway here. And again, the apps, if you're out on a walk or driving by and just plow through a pothole or something, whatever, if you see a tree hanging down the road or whatever, on your phone, you can take a picture and submit it, which helps our staff out, because they can see, you know, exactly where it's at, other than the address too. But you'll put in a new request where it shows you where you're at, and then you just get in, once it takes the location.
Will it show you, you know, we're all annexed differently, and will it show you where where Fort Walton Beach and Mary Esther and
It'll show, well, you'll get, if you're on your phone, it'll pick up where you're at, where your location is, and it'll put a pin right there. On your, if you happen to don't have a phone and you go home and pull it up on your desktop, you'd have to type the site in. So this is a little bit different than.
And it'll show you whether, hey, oh, this isn't not Fort Walton Beach, that's Mary Esther or Cinco or.
Right, yeah, I'm sorry, I know what you're saying. Yeah, just to say if somebody's putting in a report that's in,
Yes.
Yeah, Mary Esther or Cinco Bayou or something.
Yes, yes.
But once he's in this, there's a bunch of different topics: graffiti, potholes, playgrounds, illegal dumping. So Logan will just click on graffiti up there, and if somebody sprayed something on the City Hall Council chambers, he clicks on graffiti. If you're on your phone, you would submit a picture. If you're sitting at home on your desktop, you may not have one, so you click no photo, and then you can type in somebody spray painted, you know, we don't like the city on the side of the chambers, and then you would confirm the details, and it would go towards the people outlined in that, which in this, the graffiti would probably end up being Daniel's Public Works, or depending on where it's at, or the Parks crew.
Oh, good, I like that.
But it goes right to that organization, to the department, and they'll get it and act on it. But anyway, we just wanted to get, this went live Monday, and so again, it's probably, especially pictures and everything, it's a lot easier as people see it on their phone if they're driving by and you know, see something wrong with something in our community, they can take a picture and send it. And you'll see some of these on the left side, it'll say current requests, potholes, some of these were tests. If you go on there, if you went on there last night or a couple of days later, Logan put one on their tree on the sidewalk. It was kind of a test run, and some people, you know, thought that was a real, that one right there, that was a test, but anyway. Yeah.
I just want to say I absolutely love this. I know it's been in the works for a few years. I just hope that it goes in a positive direction and we're able to stay on top of it and it doesn't turn into a bombardment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It doesn't turn against us in a way that we can't keep up with. But I absolutely love it. I think it's
Well, that's kind of the gamble you take a little bit, because there are ways to report a problem. As you all know, we get emails every day from certain residents. So obviously they still have that avenue anyway.
you know, this makes it a little bit more, we hope that it turns into, if there's an issue that we need to know about. Somebody recently sent something to one of you, a bolt coming out of a swing at a playground. We need to, I mean, we don't go by and swing on the swings every day, we need to know that. So those are great. I mean, we are gonna get some of those things that.
And maybe we broker a meeting with them if we know those, identify those citizens ahead of time. Maybe we broker a meeting and say, hey, give us a chance for a few months, just give us 5 or 10. Let's not.
Can you make this information available to them, like on their water bill or advertisement of some
We can
sort?
advertise it, it's been on, I know, social media, Facebook. I mean, I don't see why we can't put it on the water bill.
We can put it on the bill. There's certain times we have to have specific Florida statute things on there, so, and we only have a certain amount of wording we can fit in there, but when we can keep it on there, yeah.
Any way that we can get the information out to the public, so that they can.
And you all, as council members, and I know you guys get tons of questions and calls, and you see people out walking or whatever, and it's gonna be easier for you all to say, hey, See-Click Fix, what is that? Well, you can download See-Click Fix on your phone, you'll type in your city, your location, and then they can download it and say, hey, it's as easy as 1, 2, 3, it's as easy as See-Click Fix. But you can tell them that. Rather than you taking all the information, say, hey, go to See-Click Fix, download it, and submit it.
I think there was a great response to the social media post that was put out, that we now have the app. I was kind of reading the comments underneath it, and people thought it was great, and they're wondering, where can I get this for the county, or where can I get this for the city around us, and stuff like that. I did have one question for Logan. When I go through this stuff, I try to, the biggest thing is keeping it as simple as possible. So when I went in to go download the See-Click Fix app, you go into the App Store, you type in See-Click Fix. Well, See-Click Fix has its own app, but then all the recommendations underneath that were See-Click Fix in the name of the city. So I'm sitting there thinking, like, maybe I need to search for Fort Walton in there. You search for Fort Walton's not in there. You download just the bare See-Click Fix app, and you put your location in and pull it up. I don't know what the difference is between those other cities that have the See-Click Fix and then the name of their city for the application versus just the general See-Click Fix. You know, I have a lot of employees, and they're of various levels of comprehension, and some of them can figure it out real easy, and other ones, they just stop and they lock up, and it's like, hey, look, this is how you do it. Go in there and do it this way. So you got to kind of spell it out a little bit more. And when that's in 150 employees and we're looking at a city of 20,000 people, what can we do to simplify it to make sure that people are getting in the right direction to get this thing within their grasp so they can? Because we know that if you guys know about it and it's a legitimate concern, you will fix it. We only have so many city employees. You guys can't have your eyes and ears out everywhere. The public needs to be a part of this to help. And then you guys verify that it's a valid concern, and then you guys go out and fix it. It's just gonna make our city better. So how do we get something informational out to the public to make it really easy? Do we need to make a video of showing them how to do it? I'm a keep it simple, stupid person.
Is there a link, does that link on there, does that take it straight to the See-Click Fix one you need to download?
Yeah, it
We can
does.
put that on social media, that link where on Facebook, they can just click on the link and download it.
So the links are on Facebook, and Devin's working on a QR code or inquiring about it. I did ask about getting our own, like on the App Store. I don't know if they have a different price range, a different package for it. So I asked actually yesterday, like, how do we get our own? Because I did the same thing. I was like, do I download this one? Do I download City of Fort Walton Beach? But I ended up not finding Fort Walton Beach, so I just downloaded that one. So I went and asked. So I haven't got an answer back yet. But with
And
that,
that's my concern is you and I can do that, but there's a lot of people out there that when they see that, they'll just stop and they won't go any further because they won't know what to do. So we need to find a way to walk them through the proper step to get them to get it, so they can get their concern. So like I said, I don't know if we should, maybe with Devin or whatever, we do a little video and post it to the, hey, look, this is how you go do it or what, but I'd like to find a way to make it as easy and as, the best way possible we can get it to people so they can understand and comprehend exactly what they need to do to get this onto their phone.
We can definitely
So they
do a
start
video.
reporting issues.
Yeah, the video, we were gonna do one actually for this, and we nixed it just because we didn't have a lot of time, but we'll do a video for it.
Okay.
Thanks, Logan. Yeah.
And then one more thing, as what Gloria was saying, and I believe, Logan, you told me, if somebody outside of the city limits tries to make a service request, when they put the address in, it will then alert them that this is not within the city limits of Fort Walton Beach. Am I correct on that? So this will help, hey, if they go ahead, it'll tell them right then and there, this isn't city, you need to go to whatever jurisdiction that this is in.
Good.
All right, I know that was a lot of information in just under 2 hours, so I want to leave it in council's hands here to, any questions or comments, things that we are doing stuff good, things we need to add to it, to work on or whatever, but, kind of open discussion for the staff and for council here, and, if you don't have a ton of questions, we can wrap it up, but we're here to answer anything you may have.
Jeff, I just gotta tell you, when I previewed the charts, I had written down, it's been a great year. You got a heck of a lot done, you and the staff working together got it. And as we were going through it, I changed great year to fantastic year, and as we got through it a little farther, I changed it to phenomenal year. It's, congratulations, it's been a great year.
Well,
To all of you, thank you.
Thank you.
I'd just like to add similar thoughts, Mayor, and Councilman Jeter brought it up earlier as well, that we were sitting in this room a year ago having this discussion about hiring Jeff on, a lot of respect to Larry Patrick, who was sitting in this room with us at that time and really kind of moved that discussion forward, eased a lot of the apprehensions that some council members had about moving forward with this. And I think from that place to where we are right now is phenomenal. Like, there's been a lot accomplished, there's a lot in the hopper, the morale of the staff seems really good. The turnover seems down, the homeless and vagrancy problem seems being addressed really well. Like, we're just checking off all these boxes. I wish Councilman Schmidt were here to give us his smart goals rendition of this, but I mean, it's absolutely right. Like, it's legit, and you guys are doing a really, really good job. Obviously, there's some areas of improvement. I think one thing that we've all touched on a little bit is the SEPTED situation. We all just really like that as a council, I think. We've all had that to say because the public really likes that. It's so easy for them to see, like, this is a really good improvement. It's a really good use of taxpayer money to make things safer, to make things look safer, feel safer, and actually be safer. So the more we can do with that and the faster we can get, Alicia out into the community outside of the CRA to make those improvements. I think Chief Beige and Councilman Jeter brought up really good points to just really kind of make that the default for the city in a lot of ways. So really proud of everything that y'all have done and really happy with all the results. So thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
I ditto to what you just said.
All right.
And I really appreciate all of you working with me and answering my questions and putting up with my chatter, to help me learn all of you and what you guys do. I really, really appreciate that. And I see, I've been here since 1970, and I've seen such growth. Do I like all the growth? Not so much, but I'm learning to live with that also, and that's why I'm on council, is to help other people understand where we are, and just because they may not like it or whatever, well, let's work with it. And Jeff, we've grown.
Definitely.
And we learn, and I hope to see more, and they want lights at Jet Park. I said, one thing at a time now. So I'm going to show them these things, with my little red cap and let them know. But I do appreciate each and every one of you, and I hope you understand that, because it is here.
Thank you for saying that.
Right.
I could echo everything that everybody just said. I see that list too. Mr. Mayor, and it just gets me excited about the future of our city, our team, our staff, but on the same time, you're a sports guy, you get this too. I feel like definitely over last year, we've won a championship, but next season starts tomorrow. There's a lot of stuff we still gotta do, let's go win our championship.
Well, and putting that into like terms, I mean, it's almost like, we kind of won the division. We hadn't won the Super Bowl yet, so you gotta keep working, so, and that's where we always, I think we kind of approach each year. We're always trying to win the Super Bowl. I don't know that, it's in the tunnel that we can see it, but, we still got some work to do.
All right, one last thing. Did you want us to reprioritize? I think our priorities are right. I think they were right, and I think they remain right. But I'm certainly open to, if council wants to reprioritize, we need to have that discussion, but I'm open to keeping them where we are.
Yeah, I mean, the goal today really was to kind of show updates of what the priorities were set last year and the progress that we've made and how much we have left to do, which is a lot, but, in the course of the next year and a half, a lot of those things, if you've seen the board in my office, there's about 50 things up there, and you've got about 6 or 7 crossed off, and, by this time next year, we'd like to have the majority of them crossed off. But I think the priorities you all set as a council were right in line with 8 different people. Sometimes they're all over the map, but they were pretty, those top 4 were pretty much on the majority of the list, which says a lot about our community. And for us to be able to the whole staff to work on it and take pride in, says a lot about them too. So we definitely, if there's something that you see, it doesn't have to be, Travis mentioned something earlier about the parking lot. Chris and his staff and myself met with a company named Premier Parking this past week. We've got a couple more coming up to look at a parking company to take care of the City Hall parking lot. So those are just little things that we're trying to take care of that you all hear, that you all want to see done, and those are some things that we're in the process of doing. So,
May I add something? We were talking about financial things and what we, parks, recreation, and how we can grow with that. At our discussion about City Hall and the auditorium, I see, this is my vision. You can disagree, whatever you want, but I see us taking the auditorium and make it bigger and better. Make it a money-making, just as your sport. It's not just sports and recreation. That's mostly during the warm weather months. But how about during the winter months, the cold months, when people are, let's make that similar to like the Maddie Kelly Theater of Fine Arts up there. Maybe not on that expansion, but to get stage crafters and more. There's a little company, a music company that came here, gave it fantastic. There was only like 25 people in the audience, but if we could expand that, and they come here free. So if we could do that, and then use the parking lot for that auditorium, because that, from what I understand, that part of the contract with the Jackson Foundation is that we have to keep that auditorium. So think on that, not just sports and recreation. I know that's your love, but I'm thinking about the whole picture.
sure.
And who has that shirt on? 365 for Long Beach?
That's it.
I'm going to hold you to it.
That's
Yeah,
why we made it.
yeah, they're right there.
Walking advertising.
That's it.
I got a little bit different take than Gloria as far as growth. I don't see a lot of growth in our area because we are pretty landlocked geographically. What I see is improvement. We haven't had a lot of growth because we're pretty much built out. We're improving on what we already have. We got a better ferry park. We got a better landing. We're getting a better bridge. We're improving our community. I feel pretty good about where we're at. We've still got a lot of projects on this list that I think that could get us through this next year. The only thing that I think that, for me, that I would like to see us take another step in the right direction, which I believe that we're going in the right direction, is, kind of that enforcement deal, with code and stuff like that. The pandemic has created a lot of issues for, unintended issues for us, and I just want to continue to improve this community for the people that live here, keeping the businesses out of the neighborhoods. You know, there's a reason we have a land development code and we have zoning. I don't want to live in the middle of a business district, and most of our residents don't either. So, stepping up that enforcement to a level that I don't necessarily know that we have seen, because we have been pretty relaxed here. Most people are pretty easygoing here, but it seems like over the last few years, there's some people that are starting to take advantage of us being a small hometown community, and I think that it's kind of time to drop the hammer on them to get them to understand we are, but we have a line. You know, I just saw what, maybe Kim might even be able to tell us, Destin stopped a development order on a residential property that was more of a commercial property in a residential neighborhood. You know, so seeing that now, I know that there's at least probably maybe 2 other, if not a third other delivery vessels being run out of business, being run out of houses, you know, and some various other things. I think that, you know, that's the next step that I believe that we need to take, is stepping up that enforcement, understand staff, that if you do everything that you're supposed to do, we will have your back 100% of the time. And if you've got someone that's giving you a hard time, give them my cell phone number. I'd be more than happy to talk to them, and explain to them that, you know, you guys are right. This is where we're at. This is what we're doing. You need to do things the right way, and quit trying to look for loopholes around things. It's just going to continue to make our community better, as well as all these improvements that we have laid out here that I think are going to be awesome when they get done. And I'm excited, because all of this stuff is going to come to fruition as my kids are 6, 8, 10, 12 years old. So they're going to get to experience a lot of these things, and it makes me extremely excited. So enforcement for me is what I would like to focus in on the next coming year, and finding ways to do things, and not finding ways to not do things. So.
Piggyback on what you just said, Travis, about Destin and the code enforcement thing. I have a question, and several people have approached me, and I need to understand this, so please help me and bear with me. From what I understand, and I haven't done that much research on it, I'll admit, is that the county, Okaloosa County and Destin, were grandfathered into where they don't, they can reject the Airbnbs and enforce the zoning R1, our zoning. Whereas, like in my neighborhood, I've been forced to, I have 3 Airbnbs there and multiple rental houses that, like you said, there's a lot of people that are here just for a short while, so they bunk into like what that person was trying to do in Destin. And how did we miss the boat, or did we miss the boat in not being able to, like Okaloosa County and Destin, to reject the
I can help with that.
Okay.
So, I don't know all the rules in Okaloosa County, but for Destin, I can make that comparison. What happened was that state law changed, and there's a provision in state law that of course says you can't prohibit short-term rentals or regulate the duration or the frequency of how long they rent, right? So there's another provision that says unless you had a code prior to 2011. So taking the Destin example, there are portions of Destin that have zoning districts existing pre-2011 that prohibited the short-term rental. So as long as that's not changed in that city, they're grandfathered there. But there's also a lot of portions of Destin with zoning districts that do allow short-term rentals, like Crystal Beach and other areas. So, so that's why. Now, Fort Walton Beach didn't have that in place prior to 2011. Fort Walton Beach, nobody knew what the state was going to do, right? So that may be why you didn't have that occur.
And there's no way we can go back or change it now, or?
Well, you can lobby the state legislature, and you know what? And it's a big deal every session, the short-term rental issue, but I mean, there's things you can do to regulate them, just not the duration or frequency of the rentals and not straight out prohibiting them. But there's other things that can be done. First of all the other codes can be enforced, noise, trash, and so on. You can do limitations on occupancy, which is something that Destin did and some other cities besides Destin have done in South Florida, and that was upheld, by court. So there are regulations, but you can't just say, you have to regulate for at least, you have to rent for at least, 60 days. Things like that are not legal.
Okay, I got a new job.
Lobbyist?
I hate that word, but I can put my little red hat on that.
All right, anybody doesn't have anything else? Thank you all for coming today. We got it done in right at 2 hours, so please make sure you get something to drink with you or eat. And thank you all for coming, and our next time, we'll see you, will be the 23rd meeting of April, next Tuesday night.
Thanks, Jeff.